Well, here we are. This is my review for the Real Housewives of Potomac Season 8 reunion, part 1 of 3. Yeah, I had to wait till the nighttime. I just wasn't motivated to do this review earlier, so I apologize for the lateness. It's just, upon first watch, it was frustrating, a little excruciating, and tiring. But strangely, I was mildly entertained. Mildly. The thing is, I just don't like reviewing this show because of the feedback. And I think people get real passionate about this show for some strange reason. Like, if you don't like the show, then don't watch it. I'm getting a check for it. That's the difference. But people just get so angry, and I just don't understand. And speaking of which, this is my disclaimer. It is just an effing TV show. A reality show that's supposed to be about luxury. But we have this, and I'm trying not to curse in the beginning of the video. Candace stands particularly, if you don't agree with me, that is fine. If we all agreed on everything, it would be boring. But please just be respectful in the comments, because I will match the energy that you throw my way. I'm watching this show objectively. And just because I say something about Candace doesn't mean that I like Jazelle. I don't like neither of them, honestly. I gotta say, I get a little uncomfortable by the vitriol and hatred towards some of the cast members on this show by people. I'm like, again, if you don't like what you're watching, turn it off. Like, if it really sets that much anger, please do not go into the YouTube comments and take that out on me. Because when I turn this off, I go about my life. So yeah, please, just keep it cute. Now with that said, let's get into the episode. So of course we get the backstage footage, the ladies arriving on set. Some time goes by and we see the set, and I don't mind it. It actually is decent. I thought it was a cute idea to have all the ladies photo shoots behind them. And I must say, I think this is the best overall dress this cast has been. Even Jazelle looks great. And, what she's wearing is basic, but it doesn't look terrible. I like the all-black theme. It's great. Speaking of Jazelle, she's the first to arrive on the couch, and it looked like she was a little taken aback that she's not sitting directly next to Andy. She's sitting next to Karen this year. So everyone's coming out, and look, I love what everyone is wearing. I love Candace's hair like that. She looks great. I actually like what Ashley's wearing too. I think my least favorite is Robyn's dress. I think she would be worse dressed, but she doesn't look bad. I'm just saying it's the look I like the least. Ooh, and let's talk about the grand dame. Karen, that's all I can do. That is all I can do. Mama looks stunning. She is aging gracefully with a little help. I love her hair. She looks regal. Love it. Wow, so we're 3 minutes in and we get right into it. It's starting. Usually the reunions, they be taking up 6-7 minutes backstage. Andy's now getting the formalities out the way. He's greeting all the women. Wendy, I don't like the hair. I don't like the wet look. And then the jewelry is making her look like a vampire priest. I don't know. I like the dress though that she's wearing. So right out the gate, before Andy starts asking questions, he lets the women know diplomatically that the season sucked. It was some bullshit. He said it was frustrating. Bullshit. And it's mostly because the majority of the cast were at stalemates with each other. They wouldn't acknowledge each other. It was rare to see them all laughing together. So yeah, I'm thinking he's saying his own way that next season, it ain't gonna cut it. We ain't having this. We gonna make some cuts. As we see from present day, a cut has been made allegedly, and then one already saw themselves out. So most of the ladies agree with Andy, and they say they're ready to move forward. I don't believe them. So first, we get a fluff piece. They want to get that out the way because this was the only time the ladies were all smiling together is when they talked about sex. Side note, I want to point out that Bravo gives too many previews because at least 20 minutes of this reunion I already saw before it aired. Ugh, why are they talking about this? And then Ashley, of all people, saying she holding the spunk in her mouth? Fast forward. So then Andy asked Karen about the answer she gave Robyn about how many sexual partners she's had in the past 5 years. She said wet dreams, and she's sticking to that answer. And then Robyn interjects and says, well, that means you can't keep track. how many sexual partners you had in the last 5 years. Without missing a beat, Karen says, no, Robyn, that would be one. Why does Robyn always try Karen? Like, out of all people, Robyn, because she gets her every single time. Karen packed Robyn up in seconds. So now we get to Robyn's reel for most of the season, including her fight with Candace over that whole Juan cheating scandal and how Robyn allegedly wanted to take attention off of that and put it on Candace's husband, Chris. Poor Robyn, like Juan continuously makes her look like a fool and she's fine with it. Speaking of which, Andy asks her, so you still stand by the fact that Juan has not cheated on you with the Canada girl or the laundromat girl? She says she'll never know for certain. But from what Juan told her, she believes him. What to say? What to say? She is fine with it. I think we care more than Robyn do, and that's the problem. Andy then tries to bring the other ladies in on it and asks them, do they believe Juan? I thought Karen was going to say something diplomatic, but she said none of us believe him. But they do say, well, I think Mia says that it depends on what Robyn believes. She will ride for this man to the day she dies. As she's defending Juan, Andy does bring up that he's not here today and he doesn't have a basketball game. Even shade from Andy. Look, Andy is fed up. And I'm fed up with Robyn too, and that's why I hope she got the cut, because she deserves it. She's been given too many chances, and she just cops to it. She says that Juan just declined to be here. And personally, I think it makes him a coward. Andy then calls Ashley out and says, well, you've been in the same position, like Michael Darby doesn't want to come. And she agrees, and that's why Ashley should be on her way out. So then Robyn's asked about how she doesn't care that Juan be deleting all of his messages. She continues with the same script, and I swear, I definitely laughed looking at Wendy and Candace both give a side eye. We're diving into the beef, and Candace says that it never mattered to her whether Juan was cheating or not. What mattered was that she was keeping information about her marriage from the group, yet demanded that the other ladies give information about their personal lives. So Robyn says she never demanded that from the other ladies, and Candace brings up when she did with Karen about this man in Vegas, but Robyn says she only did that because, you know, it was brought to her first. Now I'm trying to think back to prior seasons, and I feel like Robyn's lying. There's probably been occasions where she expected the other ladies to disclose their business. Because I'm sure y'all in the chat have no problem reminding me. I will say, as a fan, I thought it was a cop-out, especially, you know, putting it behind a paywall. And even ask her, well, you would think that you would just disclose about the situation to get ahead of it. And she said, well, she didn't feel the need to. But then Andy reminds her on Watch What Happens Live, she said that she expected Karen to bring it up. Robyn then says, well, if you did, then I wouldn't have been surprised. Bullshit. So now Karen and Robyn's going back and forth. Karen is bringing up Ray's tax issues to that season where she was getting ahead of it. And then now it's her versus the green-eyed bandits. Jazelle comes in and says, well, that was public record. Karen says Robyn's thing made the paper, the credit card paper. Andy laughs. Just whack her again, Karen. Side note, for all intents and purposes, I'm a little high right now. I mean, that's the only way I could be able to get through this review. So yes, just letting y'all know. So Candace is asked by a person whose name is bleeped out, why does she expect Robyn to tell her business when back in season 3, she said that her and Chris had the right to choose what they share. So then Candace, she refuses to answer the question because I'm guessing the bleep name is a blogger that Robyn knows. They have a group chat together and they were talking about, I guess, Jazelle, and Candace brought these large ass poster boards. And I'm just like, the irony, because she had so much to say about Monique's binder, but now she's bringing out poster boards. Okay. So I was confused about what this poster board was supposed to prove. I mean, doesn't Candace talk to the same blogger that she doesn't want to answer? Did she think she was going to turn Jazelle and Robyn against each other? Because it didn't work. Like, the poster boards was a flop to me. Andy asked Candace, does she still believe that Ashley and the Green-Eyed Bandits all conspire with each other to put the attention on Chris to protect Juan? She says she does. She believes it. Andy then asked her, well, here and now today, what do you need from Robyn to move forward? Child, Candace starts to get emotional. I need a tissue. I need a tissue. I'm like, tears, really? Here we go. But then Jazelle starts laughing. Ha ha, fake tears. Ha ha ha. Even does a big ass belly laugh. And Andy's like, come on, Jazelle. Like, that was kind of mean. I gotta say, I was really surprised by like the social media reaction. I thought it was indeed silly for Candace to cry over someone she's been dragging all season, and a little bit before they even brought the cameras back up. So really, girl, and again, I've been asking all season, is it Uchiwali or is it one mic? Like, do you want this bitch friendship or not? So for her to be crying still, I'm just like, okay, why are you doing this? So I think that was a big deal with Jazelle. Candace been going at Jazelle OD in the confessional all season. So I'm sure Jazelle's mindset was she don't give any fucks either. Like, fuck being polite. You want a villain now? Bitch, here I go. And also, I see people trying to say, well, if Candace laughed at Jazelle crying about her dad, well, those are two different things. Her dad died, and if Jazelle did the same thing to Candace, if a family member died, then yeah, Jazelle would be a fucking asshole. Say if Jazelle was crying about Karen's friendship, I wouldn't have cared if Candace laughed. Candace says that she just wants acknowledgement because it hurt her and it hurt Chris. But Candace wants acknowledgement, but she never wants to give it. And it's a pattern with her, and that's just my opinion. So then Andy asks Robyn, what does she need from Candace? Robyn, she's like, well, I don't need nothing from her because if she really does think I did that, then she shouldn't be friends with me. And surprisingly, we hear Mia making all the sense. She interjects and says, well, I think what Robyn wants is some accountability on Candace's part for what she did, and Candace just wants transparency. One thing I want to point out, Mia was taking full advantage of that first chair. So it looks like they're not going anywhere on this. They're at a stalemate, so they're going to revisit it later. Then Andy asks Robyn, is there anything she wants the audience to know about her relationship with Juan or any other misconceptions? And, you know, she's given the ride or die speech, saying that she is happy, and even has the gall to say they need to do a 2-hour special on Juan Dixon's life. Girl... There needs to be a 2-hour special on how you let a man embarrass you on TV for 8 years. So then we're on Karen's reel for the season, and also how she referred to herself as the fence and how she rides it. Well, no. Or how the cast rides her. I don't know. But first they're talking about just how good she looks. And I guess they cut out her triple 20 birthday party because they talked about it all season, then we never see it. So then it's brought up how Karen is seen by some of the cast as riding the fence when it comes to an issue in the group, for example, between Jazelle and Candace. Now we're talking about their beef. Jazelle, she's talking about the death threats that she received, and it looks like she's putting a lot of it on Candace. I don't know if that's fair, because Candace was getting death threats, I'm sure, during the whole Monique fight. In general, no one should be getting death threats. But look, the way some of y'all talk about how much y'all hate people on this cast, like, I'm not surprised. It's not right no matter how much we hate that person. Jazelle then tries to make the point that Candace kind of encourages the hate that's brought to her, which I can kind of agree with that because even Andy points out that she likes tweets that are directed to Jazelle. Jazelle then goes down the line of the insults. Fuck Jazelle. Jazelle is evil. Jazelle's the devil. Jazelle's an imp. Candace is like, all true. So much for moving forward. They're going back and forth now. Jazelle brings up Candace's tweets, and then Candace brings up Jazelle's talk show, and she said how they laugh at her over a rumor and a lie. So Robyn then says, so the screenshots are Photoshop? And she's talking about the scandal that happened between Candace and Chris. Some mistress posted text messages and a photo of Chris's genitals. She then retracted the story, and then she said she actually was telling the truth. So she's not credible. So the story just fizzled out. But Robyn has some nerve talking about this topic. Like, you literally live in a glass house, sis. Candace tells Robyn she doesn't know what she's talking about. She then asks, was it a brown dick? And then the look on Andy's face, he was repulsed by that. I guess because we weren't talking about Amir's dick. Because usually Andy is like excited. Andy wants to move on from the conversation, but the lady's still talking. He is getting frustrated. He's like, break is in 15 minutes. I've never seen Andy frustrated so early in the reunion. It's usually part 2 or part 3. Andy wants to get to some common ground between Candace and Jazelle before the break. The rest of the ladies are like, good luck with that. Candace starts and says, from her actions and words from the beginning of the reunion, she has expressed that she doesn't want to move forward. Then Jazelle says, well, I've just said the laundry list of things that you've said towards me. From last reunion, y'all didn't like the sneaky link comment, and I apologize for it. Andy asks, is there anything else that happened after that? Jazelle is like, nothing else has happened because I didn't talk to her. I will say, this past season that we watched, like, Jazelle didn't have any interaction with Candace. I don't think she did anything. They just talked about each other in their confessionals. Now, let me make it clear, I don't like them both, but me as a viewer, I would love to just see them move forward or have some type of cordialness with each other, but hell will freeze over when that happens. Lord, so then we get to the essay conversation because one of the questions asked Candace after Karen's event, about survivors, why would she make that moment about her beef with Jazelle on Twitter? Now, when I saw the tweet, I kind of rolled my eyes at it too, just more so in an exhaustive way. Because I think the episode ended on a positive note because it was really rare. So then for Candace to open up the can of worms, I was just like, oh Lord, here we go again. But yeah, now they get into a debate about whether Jazelle accused Chris of SA or not. Candace says Jazelle absolutely accused Chris of it. Jazelle denies it. Let me know in the comments what you think. But I will say, like, Jazelle never said verbally that Chris SA'd her. She said he made her feel uncomfortable. Now, it just sucks that this happened in the first place because Chris was drunk and then he did ask to speak to Jazelle to complain about Candace. That's why it just blows my mind how this all started in the first place. But then Jazelle makes it bad for herself when she says, oh, well, he seemed like he was just trying to see if I was with it. Or like call him a sneaky link. They're going back and forth now on the semantics. Karen interjects and says, well, maybe it's not so much the implication as like the conclusion is left for the people to draw up. And then Neka interjects and asks Jazelle, well, can you just say that Chris didn't SA you? Maybe that would make Candace happy. Now, I don't know why Jazelle didn't just say that he didn't. She then says, well, I never said that in the first place. I say he asked me to go into a room. She says she's not apologizing for something she didn't say. Candace is basically saying she feels gaslit and then calls Jazelle a liar, a big ass liar. And then Jazelle's like, is it name calling time? Is it name calling time? I don't know why. I think it was the look on her face when she was saying that to Candace. This woman is almost 60 years old acting like that. Then we get back to Candace saying that she said made me in the confessional. And Jazelle says she didn't say that. And then Andy hears from production that the soundbite says made me. And Candace's point is it's implying force. So you're trying to say that Chris forced you into a room. Wendy interjects and asks Candace, if Jazelle holds herself accountable, what will you hold yourself accountable for? And she says for her response to the situation. So then Jazelle, she says, Chris did not say made me. He asked me to go into the room. So then they're just expecting, okay, Jazelle held herself accountable for misquoting that. And now they're asking Candace, does she accept that? Candace takes a long ass pause and says, sure. Lord, that hurt her. I think she's thinking about the check. I'm not surprised if, like, at part 3, she announced that she quit the show and she just got ahead of it. You heard it here first. Like, because usually they wait till after the reunion airs to say if they're leaving the show or not before. So I'm thinking something happened in part 3 where Candace, well, you just knew she wasn't coming back. Anywho, Candace does, in this moment, it looks like, takes accountability for a lot of the vitriol she said about Jazelle. So it looks like this one little moment of acknowledgement is the first step, I guess. I'm sure we're going to take 5 steps back as the reunion progresses. Andy then moves on to Karen and says that if you claim to be neutral, why does it seem like you're always coming for Robyn? Now, in some cases, Robyn is always coming for Karen. So Karen is just on the defense. The fact that Karen just leaves her foot on Robyn's neck, I mean, I think it's Robyn's fault. Andy then asked both women to say 3 nice things about each other. Robyn, she successfully does it, but then Karen, Karen couldn't help herself. She was shady with hers. Robyn then points out, though, like hypothetically, like if her situation with Candace happened to her, how would she feel? Karen's kind of dodging the question and saying that she's not the one on trial, and she's objective with Robyn because she has a problem with Robyn. Karen then points out how inconsistent Robyn is, from one minute putting a boombox on the table to being on Watch What Happens Live, sitting on the side of the curb crying, to wanting Karen to care about her. Karen then continues to say how she is the fence. They're going back and forth now. They need to go on break. So the argument leads to nowhere. Andy just ends the conversation to go on break. Did y'all see how pissed off Andy was? He just threw the cards on the ground, got up, and left the stage. Didn't talk to anybody. Andy is fed up, and so am I when I was watching. So we're backstage now. We're in Mia's dressing room. We see Gordon. Her new boo, the DJ, radio personality or whatever, she's talking to him and then, like, in front of Gordon, and then tells Gordon to say hi to her boo. I thought that was so odd. Like, really? That is wild. The audacity. So a little later, the ladies are back on stage, and now the next reel is dedicated to Mia. So Mia's giving an update on her situation. She lives in Washington, D.C. now. G lives in North Carolina. So now they're talking about her new boo, Mr. Ink, who she's known since high school. I guess they fell out for a while. After she married Gordon, they rekindled. So she did cheat on Gordon. Or was it allowed? Wendy interjects to inform Mia that Gordon's been saying things about her to them, one of them being that Mr. Ink came by their house to take Jeremiah because he believes he's the father. And Andy asks her, does Ink still believe that Jeremiah is his son? And she says yes. This is where they put the cliffhanger. This is where the episode ends. Part 1 was so fucking exhausting. Overall, I think the most interesting moment of this reunion was seeing some common ground being made between Candace and Jazelle. Them just acknowledging each other is jarring because they didn't speak to each other the entire season. I didn't like the fact that they showed half the episode in the previews. I was just sitting there waiting for a scene that I didn't see happen already. Maybe next week will be a better episode. It looks like they bring the husbands out. We see Jazelle cry, which, seems to be rare on this show. And I'm pretty sure they're going to get to Nneka versus Wendy. Anywho, that was my review of the episode. It is 1 a.m. I'm about to carry my ass to bed. Again, I apologize for my high kicking in halfway through the video. But yes, that is what I need to review this fucking show. With that, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see y'all for part 2. Bye.